I used to, I'm a designer and I want the website to always look really good, but it's a lot different on the web on how you persuade people. People uh, understand your website visually in a different way than you expect it to. So design is very important, but the most important thing is that it's clear what service or product or content you're offering, and that it's easy for them to navigate. So for the most part, the most important thing is that it's simple, it's easier to understand, and that your business is great. If you don't have a great business, if you don't have a great product, if you don't have a great podcast, if you don't have a great content, no one's going to come back no matter what. So regardless of what design you have, what theme you have, or how good your search engine rankings are. So when looking for a theme, in order to make sure it's successful, you want to ensure you have those business goals down and make it easily understand and navigate. So you know, design is very important. Make it clean, make it easy to read, but ensure that you're solving the person's problem who's visiting your site in the first place. Yeah, absolutely. And you can do this through data. You can use something like heat maps, and you can segment out your visitors based on heat maps. We can use Crazy Egg or Visual Website Optimizer to run heat maps on a mobile experience, a tablet experience, and a desktop experience. And you can actually go and see how far people are clicking, how far they scroll down and how far they click. Obviously, the more they scroll, the less people are actually clicking. But that could be different, a lot different on your mobile experience because people may swipe halfway, they may be clicking on the middle of the page. So you want to kind of know what people are clicking on. As soon as you know what people are clicking on, you may want to move that more towards the top.
So heat maps are basically a tool to visualize the behavior of the visitor of a site.
Yeah, it's giving you specific data of the what people are clicking on. If
Mm.
you look at your Google Analytics and you see your top traffic pages, you would see where people are going on your website. But you don't want to stop there. You want to know what people are actually clicking on. So you want to know how many people are clicking on your call to action button, how many people are clicking on maybe your next page or your pagination. If no one's clicking on your pagination, you may want to make that bigger so your bounce rates go down. The bounce rates is simply the amount of people who go to your page and leave. If your bounce rates are over 75% on a blog, that's really, really bad. You want to try to add more links toward the top of the page to get more people to actually click.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And actually, you touched on marketing personas or audience personas, which is, I think, a very important tool in marketing itself. The question I get all the time is how do we make sure this persona exists actually? So, say we create this persona called Joe, and we give him the certain attributes, like he's 25 to 35 and he works in a job ABC. How do we make sure that those attributes actually are real and it's a real person we're mapping out?
Well, that's an interesting problem, and I think every marketer has that.
Yeah.
Right up the scale, up to the people that have got billions to spend on marketing, they all have that same problem. There are only two things that you can do. One, use data. So try your very, very best to segment the current data that you have down far enough that you can make some assumptions based on that. And that's all it is, it's assumptions. You're never going to get it absolutely perfect. You're never going to capture everyone, but you need to capture as many people as you can. And then the second thing that you need to do is be confident enough in your assumptions, but humble enough to rapidly change them if the data that comes back from a campaign tells you that you were slightly off. You've got to be humble enough to say, well, look, guys, we did get that slightly wrong. Let's just tweak that. Perhaps Joe isn't working in this kind of job. We misunderstood that. Perhaps he's doing this kind of thing, and this matters to him where this doesn't matter to him. So use the data and make some confident assumptions based on that, but be humble enough to remain agile and be able to shift.
Awesome point. So, say we have our website up and running and we have our marketing personas defined, and we see that the website isn't converting, and we figured that we might need a redesign. How does that redesign process look like?
Well, now that's an interesting one because you actually have, again, I seem to say this a lot, you've kind of got a couple of options with this one. You can dive into a redesign and you can use the data and all the tools and all the kind of process that we mentioned just a moment ago to define everything that you're going to do moving forward based on what you've learned from the past website. However, what could be a more effective use of that budget would be to do something like Amazon does, which is make very small iterative changes based on user behavior. So, what I would suggest is that you get some kind of tracking on your website, something like Hotjar, which is a fantastic tool, currently in beta at the minute, but it's a fantastic tool. Some kind of heat mapping or visitor playback to allow you to see what people do. Because you may find that you've only got a 5% conversion rate and think, well, the website is just not doing very well. But actually, you may find that you're just asking for one piece of information on the checkout process, like a telephone number, and you've made that mandatory, or a date of birth. That's the best one, a date of birth. Why do I need a date of birth to be able to buy a book? So you may be asking for some kind of nugget of information that is putting people off. And if you can make iterative, slow burn, measurable changes and say, okay, let's stop that date of birth being mandatory, you can start to tip up from 5% to 10% to 20% to 30%. And frequently, it doesn't need a redesign. All it needs is a bit of conversion optimization on an ongoing basis. And, you know, that's something that Amazon do all of the time. They've just introduced their Prime, you know, the Try Prime link right underneath their logo at the top left of the site, which is massive. And that's been done through a process of iteration rather than a full redesign. So, yes, you can dive in and redesign, and you can take all of the actions and the strategic side that we spoke about. But my recommendation would be to actually look inwardly and say, what are we doing that we could do slightly better? And just to tip the conversions up and up and up and up.
One thing I did on Elance is I would put a lot of effort in cover letters.
Okay.
This is something I see. I mean, with our new website, we have a form in which you can apply for a developer position with us, right? And I see we get about 30 to 50 applicants on a daily basis. 90% of them is immediately turned down just because they don't pass this first test of writing a nice cover letter. Hi, I'm this and this, I do that and that. Okay, everybody does it. You know, some developers are just not good at communicating, and this is our first test, right? So you should impress somebody, and this is something I was successful at on Elance. So the projects I would win, I would always go into details. I would always analyze what somebody needs. I would also maybe recommend a small solution, or how would I start, you know, so that the person that was receiving the cover letter knew what I was talking about, you know, which infinitely increased my chances of winning the project.
Yeah, that's very good points actually, because that's something that everyone listening to this can take to practice right now. So if you have a job open on Odesk and Elance, just make sure the cover letter conveys some kind of understanding of the project, because I've seen it myself. So many developers just say, hi, I'm ABC and I can do what you require. Please, let's start the project or something like that. And it's ridiculous. I mean, how do they even think they will get the job?
I don't know. It's just copy pasting usually. You know, they just go through all the projects that are open, just open them and copy paste their stuff in, right? And that's not a way to win projects. I mean, you need to impress the person, especially when you're competing to 50 other developers.